We have a lot of people joining.
That's okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our Enactus Canada Regionals Info Prep session. Before we get started, we just wanted to do a land acknowledgement from the City of Toronto. So, the City of Toronto acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. The city also acknowledges that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed by the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. The City of Toronto has been acknowledging the traditional territory since 2014 due to conversations with Indigenous leaders, including the Aboriginal Advisory Committee, as part of the 2018 Toronto for All campaign, and the City of Toronto has evolved. So, just quickly, just to go through the table of contents.
Sorry. Eric, just give me 1 second. I think,
Oh,
oh, there it is. Sorry. Awesome.
so we are going to try to fire through all of this information in about 20 minutes. So we're first going to start with any crucial and new changes for this year. We're just going to talk a bit more about regionals in terms of the itinerary for all three regions, the impact challenges, what challenges are in the morning and afternoon, just some quick updates on the logo hold slides, talking just about challenge reports and what we mean by the PM review, then followed just by the criteria. And then also we have some updates just around your team doing land acknowledgements and content warnings during your setup period. And then lastly, just some any additional information after the 20-25 minutes or so, we will open up for any questions and things like that. But to quickly get started on crucial information, so some crucial information around here is the PVF. So the project verification form is actually now due with your challenge report. And just a reminder that you do need 3 signatures. So one from your student leader or student president, one faculty advisor, and also somebody from the administration. Please note that if your faculty is also admin, you need to have a third person from your school to sign off as admin. Most importantly, please make sure that you are bringing your own projectors and laptops, as these are not provided by Enactus Canada. Another big change from last year is the tech checks actually are in the morning of day 2 of all of the regionals, not in the evening after the opening ceremonies. So just make sure you note that. And lastly, just a reminder around the the Innovation and Impact Challenge. It is a rolling deadline. So last year it was any projects older than May of 2023 could not compete. This year it is any project or business created after May of 2024. So please just make sure that you are aware of that. Next slide, Abby. Also new this year. So part of what we're trying to do with the program manager review is making sure that all of your impact and numbers and things like that are all accurate and things. Your program manager will be reaching out to you around more information around this and what a review session looks like and things like that. Most importantly, challenge reports are due earlier this year. They are not due the day before like they have been in the past of regionals. They're actually due about 2 weeks in advance. So please make sure when you're planning and budgeting time around those that you have that deadline in your calendars. Please, just a reminder for when you do land acknowledgements during your setup period, please make sure you don't include anything about your projects or businesses of a part of that. It should come from, some sort of official, whether it's the city of Toronto, city of Calgary, you name it, or the school. And then lastly, no content warnings will be said by teams. This year, we've made it so if people are they're allowed to leave during the presentations and things now. So just wanted to flag that. I will now pass it on to Abby to talk about the most exciting part about this info session.
Yeah, so one big thing, I know a lot of people on this meeting maybe haven't been to regionals before, maybe you went a few years ago. So I think it's important that we kind of go over what we do for competitions for the whole year, the differences between regionals and nationals, and we'll show you a few pictures of those as well, along with the schedules for the year. So the first thing, feel free to screenshot this, but everybody is going to get the presentation sent to them. But this is our basic Enactus competition pathway. We've used other graphics in the past, and I know they've caused a little bit of confusion. So I'm just going to show you guys the top row. So impact challenges are what we compete in at regionals. We have 4 different impact challenges, and what we do at regionals only relates to those. So you compete with 1 presentations at the impact challenge, and then 1 person will be selected as the regional champion. That person will go on to present in that specific impact challenge at nationals, and then if they were to win, they would become the impact challenge national champion. Secondly, we have nationals. Nationals does have that impact challenge component, but in addition to that, every team, regardless of what they do at regionals, how they place, if they compete, is allowed to enter our national competition. So just to clarify, even if you lose at regionals, even if you don't compete at regionals, you can still compete at nationals with a 12-minute competition piece. Sorry, a little bit wordy. But yeah, you'll have access to this. If you have questions, let us know, but hopefully the rest of our stuff clarifies for regional. Okay, so Atlantic Regionals is February 26th to 27th. These are some of the pictures from last year. We have our Western Regionals a little bit later, and then we have our Central Regionals. So for our itinerary, I'm just going to point out a few things. This is currently available on our website. So if you clicked on any of the events, you'd be able to see the schedule. Closer to the event, there will be stuff that has the actual room names and numbers, or letters if they use letters instead. I know that's how the Atlantic is. But you'll be able to have a more in-depth one. But a few things I wanted to point out, the first being the Regional Leadership Summit. So this is traditionally for your presidents, your incoming presidents, potentially your VPs. You register for free and you use a code that's going to be on your Enactus team platform. So you have to log in and you have to be your administrator for your team. So if you guys could do that, that's a numerical code based on your latitude and longitude. 2 people, free. You can't have a third. Some other notes about day 1, 2 people can attend the student leader meeting. We'll make sure that you have the time between 2:30 and 3 o'clock to get there. Final reporting meeting can be attended by the student leader and whoever helps with the reporting, so you can switch off those tasks. So if somebody else helps you more with your reporting, feel free to switch that. Final reporting meeting will happen immediately after the student leader meeting, and it will happen in the same room, so you don't have to worry about running there. Yeah, opening ceremony, we open the doors 15 minutes ahead of time. Awesome. Another thing to point out for any teams that have a mental wellness ambassador, as well as any mental wellness ambassadors that are on the call, we will have a meeting held between 2 and 3 p.m. on day 1. We can't wait to see you there. There'll be a few activities. This will hopefully allow you guys to connect with other MWAs from across the region. Itinerary for day 2. I would encourage everybody to wake up super early to make sure that they register if they weren't there the day before, but definitely for your tech checks, that could start as early as 7:30. A few other notes for this. We have our Desjardins Community Empowerment Challenge, as well as our TD Entrepreneurship Challenge in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we have our Innovation and Impact Challenge powered by Enactus alumni and our Canadian Tire Environmental Sustainability Challenge, followed by our award ceremony, which the doors will open at 4:45. And I will pass it off to Maddie.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Abby. So yeah, so this is the kind of schedule for the impact challenges that we have for you so far. So you'll see here that we have the morning presentations are from 9:30 a.m. until noon. And that is the TD Entrepreneurship Challenge and then the Desjardins Community Empowerment Challenge. Those will be happening at the same time. And then we will show you the league draw at regionals. But just a heads up that those are happening at the same time. And then in the afternoon, after the kind of short hour-long break in between, you'll have the afternoon presentations from 1 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. And that's the Canadian Tire Environmental Sustainability Challenge and then the Innovation and Impact Challenge powered by Enactus alumni. So with the impact challenges during those events, each team will have a 12-minute time block for their live presentation. And within this 12 minutes, this includes the 3-minute setup period. So you'll come in, get ready, get the team set up, get your tech set up. We will provide 2 chairs, a screen, a power bar to plug in your computer, and then a small table to set your laptop and your projector. But you'll need to bring your own projector. You'll need to bring your own laptop. We'll have a little bit more about this later on, but just a heads up. And then you'll have 5 minutes then for your live presentation, and your presentation cannot exceed 5 minutes. Timing is very firm on this. Those who have been to a competition know that that timer goes off and it's the most jarring sound in the room. So make sure that you're practicing in under 5 minutes. And then anytime that you have left, so let's say you finish at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, that extra time does not get added to Q&A. So then you'll have a 4-minute exact Q&A. And then during the setup period and the Q&A, you must have the hold slides that we've provided. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But they must be displayed at the beginning and end of your presentation. Whether you have a video presentation or a PowerPoint or however you have it set up, those must be displayed. So this is kind of a preview of what a typical impact challenge room looks like. You'll see the arrow is kind of where you guys enter the room. There'll be the screen at the front. We recommend having presenters on both sides of the screen so you're not standing in front, of course, with the projector in your face. There's a little tech table in the middle, and then on both sides of the room, you'll have judges in the front row. There'll be 1 row of reserved seating. This is for the team that is actively presenting. So if you're someone who's there to support your team, you'll come in, you'll watch the presentation, and once the presentation finishes, as the presenting team is leaving the room, you will also leave those seats so that the next team and their supporting group can sit in those seats, but you're welcome to sit in any of the spectator section in the middle and back of the room. So this is an example of what one of the hold slides will look like. It might look familiar. You can find these on our website. But this is the Canadian Tire Environmental Sustainability Challenge. And then on the next slide, you'll see that we have a unique hold slide for each challenge. So make sure that you have these again at the beginning and end of your presentation. Okay, amazing. And I will hand it over
to me. So thank you, Maddie. I will talk about the challenge report format. So that's an example of a challenge report. That one is for Canadian Tire. So you need to follow the template. So you are not allowed to change the sizes of the boxes. And the reporting period will be from February 23rd to February 23rd, 2025, sorry, and to February 2nd, 22 from 2026. That's for regional. For nationals, it will be a different time reporting period. So this document must be reviewed by your PM, and they need to be submitted by the deadline through the Cactus platform. So if you want to have access to this challenge report, you can click on the presentation that we're going to send you, but you can also go on the Enactus website, go to Impact Challenges, Requirements, and to Report Template. So the challenge report review, like I said, you need to book a session with your PM before the challenge report deadline. So that will give us enough time to ensure that your report is correct before regionals. And there are the deadline for submitted digitally via the Cactus platform. For Central Canada, will be March 8th. Same thing for Western. And for teams that are in Atlantic, that will be competing in Atlantic, will be Feb 2022. So when you will be filling the challenge report, you need to be careful because one of the biggest mistakes that students usually made is around differencing between direct and indirect impact, and also the reach. So let's talk about the printing and submission of a challenge report. It's a one-page document. Again, you need to follow the template. You don't have to change it or change the size. And you will have to do 12 copies per challenge. 10 will be for the judges, 1 will be for the registration desk, and 1 will be handed to the lead coordinator just before the presentation. And your team will be the one ending out the report.
Wonderful. Thank you, Terry. So just really quickly, when we talk about judging criteria, I just want to flag a few things. The first is that judging criteria varies per impact challenge. So if you are trying to figure out, hey, what do they mark us on? Like, what are good things to include in our presentation? Did we miss anything? What I would strongly advise is that you go onto the judging criteria, which we often refer to as green sheets. This can often be synonymous just because we print them on green paper, and look through what they are judging you on. One thing, innovation and impact often has more categories on the different things they judge you on. But really quickly, if you look at the Canadian Tire Environmental Sustainability Challenge, you can see innovation. So they talk about the process of introducing new or improving existing ideas, services, technologies, products, or methodologies, right? So take a review of that before you guys present, ideally before you're doing that presentation or challenge report review, but as soon as you can. Lovely. The second thing, so for content warnings and land acknowledgements, I know Eric had already mentioned this briefly, but there will be no content warnings said by the teams. Instead, a very basic content warning will be said by the lead coordinator, which allows people to actually leave if uncomfortable. So previously it was asked that everybody stay seated during the entirety of the presentation. That has changed. In terms of the land acknowledgement, these are completely optional. These are said during your tech setup time. So that 3-minute period, obviously, please set up your tech, but a person from your team can say this, or you can say it after your tech is done, whatever you'd like. I've included the Toronto example if you guys would like to refer to it in the future. That's the one that we typically use. You can definitely change it based on where your university is, but I know a lot of my teams come from Toronto. In terms of a little bit of tech advice, you're going to have your tech check, which is 5 minutes, the morning of the presentation between 7:30 and 9. You are going to find this out the night before. So please plan for getting up early. Once you miss your tech check, it's kind of one of those too bad, so sad situations. So ideally you go to it, you kind of get a feel for the room, how you have to set up your projector. And you don't just sleep through this. For the actual presentation, this gets shrunk down to 3 minutes. So we give you that extra 2 minutes just to kind of prep, but it is 3 minutes in reality. That 3 minutes starts as soon as you walk through those doors. It is not like as soon as you get to the front. It is as soon as you get there. We do not provide laptops, projectors, cords, speakers, clickers, anything like that. My team would personally use books sometimes to stack underneath the projector. Sometimes the leveling's not always right. Just a few flags there. Essentially, if you need to use anything to make your presentation look nice, that is on you guys. We do provide, however, that small table for a projector. It's not very big. 2 chairs, usually for your tech, power bar, and a screen to project onto. We can't guarantee the size of the screen, anything like that, how far away it is. So it's really important to go to that tech check the morning of. A few pieces of advice for tech is to download the presentation to reduce the reliance on Wi-Fi. I know it can be hard when you have a lot of video, but it really helps. Warm up your projector in the hallway. So by warming it up for a few minutes beforehand, often it allows it to, you plug it in and it only takes like 20 seconds. Obviously, if you have a newer projector, it's less of an issue, but I know a lot of people have some older ones. And check that your projector works before coming. So make sure your light bulb's like working, make sure you have the right adapters. I know I've made those mistakes in the past. Lovely, and I'll hand it off to Eric.
Thank you, Abby. I know that this is super ironic coming from myself, but please make sure, especially at regionals during presentations, to not be talking or yelling or cheering or screaming or anything like that outside of the presentation rooms. The walls are paper thin, so you can even hear whispers and chatters and things like that. It is very, very distracting for the next team that is that is presenting. So please just be very mindful of that. Also, just a reminder, please make sure, whether it's high-fiving, hugging, things like that, please don't be doing that without consent. Just a reminder, especially for your media team, but also just in general, as everyone has iPhones and cameras, please make sure when you're taking pictures with flash that try to avoid that in the presentation rooms, especially when presentations are going on, things like that. And then lastly, please make sure when you're inside of the presentation rooms, please do not judge or block the judge's view of seeing the presentations. If that happens, you will be asked to leave right away. So please just make sure that you avoid doing that. So the opposite. So please make sure that you are quiet and respectful outside of the presentation rooms. Also ask for permission. Most importantly, make sure you're supporting each other. You are in a new location. You realistically probably only had 3 or 4 hours of sleep that you're running off of because you were doing rehearsals and last minute edits to your presentations. So please make sure you're supporting each other while you're there. And then lastly, please make sure you take group pictures and photos. These are going to be memories that you have for a lifetime. I still get Snapchat memories of even when I was at regionals and nationals. I'm not going to say how long ago, but they do go by very, very fast. And that's all I will say for that. Just talking about attire. So I know that typically everyone focuses on day 2, where you have your business attire. A lot of people will go full formal, suit and tie, semi-formal, things like that. But just a reminder that day 1, especially around the opening ceremony time, is all about the students and faculty and the teams. So please make sure you're showing off your school pride, your Enactus pride, making sure you have those posters and noisemakers and you name it. I know some teams have costumes and stuff like that. So please make sure on day 1 you are wearing those. And then day 2 is like that dress to impress. That's where you'll see all of the business attire and things like that. So just wanted to make a reminder that they are 2 separate attires each day. And then just lastly, around the French question and answer period session, there are a couple teams that do require a French translator for the Q&A period. For those teams that selected yes, please make sure that you are talking to Thierry. His email is here. So please just make sure that you talk to him prior to regionals, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
And then
amazing. Thank you
kill
so
it,
much,
Maddie.
Eric. All right, so you guys might have noticed by now that we have been kind of redesigning our website a little bit to make it a little more user-friendly and easier to find information. But with that, we want to make sure that everybody understands where to find everything that they'll need, especially as we get into the busiest part of the year. So I just want to talk about finding information on enactus.ca. So for this, we're going to talk about regionals a little bit. So up in the main menu bar, you'll see that it says students and faculty. You'll want to click that, and then it will show you 3 columns: students, faculty, and resources. Under that 3rd resources column, you'll see it says program and competition requirements. If you click that, it will take you to this page right here that says, of course, program and competition requirements. And then there'll be a handful of drop-down kind of menus. That second one right there says impact challenges. Clicking that will give you information on the impact challenges at regionals. And so we were just talking in the chat about the hold slides. So this is where you'll find the hold slides. You'll see there's also the challenge overview, judging criteria. So like those green sheets that we were talking about earlier, challenge report template. and yes, the whole slides. And then here's kind of a little preview of like what each of those hyperlinks will include. So you'll see all 4 documents there for each challenge. And then in that same drop down, you'll see that was in the requirements tab. If you click the competition details and frequently asked questions, you'll see there's also more information and frequently asked questions on the challenge report itself. You'll also find the project verification form there, and you'll be able to download it there as well. So you can submit it when you submit your challenge reports for the review meeting that we'll have. You'll find some more questions about presentations, technology, logistics, all of that. And then, of course, if you have more questions, you can always ask your PM. And then lastly, I just want to talk about the resources page. So under that same student faculty resources, there's the resources page itself. So you'll find different menus here depending on what type of information you're looking for. You can see in this screenshot, we have information on like brand and design, public relations, project development. You'll even find the training recordings here. So this is where you can find this video to refer back to later. But under the project development and impact menu, there is the impact reporting and evaluation guide for this year. So this document is extremely helpful when it comes to your review meetings or putting impact numbers in your presentations or even for final reporting in April. It includes lots of information about reporting itself, but also some important definitions as well. So like direct impact, indirect impact, reach, these are all very different metrics. So it's important to know the difference between direct impact, indirect, and reach, for example. So definitely take a look at this. There's lots of other amazing resources in here. So I encourage all of you after this meeting to check it out. But with that being said, that's all I have on the website. And I'm just going to hand it back to Eric to finish the presentation.
Amazing. So last but not least, please make sure, to try and get as many of your team out to regionals. Honestly, one of the best ways is, especially if you've been in years past, really talk about your experience. Make sure you're showing photos and videos from previous years, whether it's of your team, things like that. I know that those don't necessarily might do all justice of the true experience of it, but just please make sure that you're talking about your experience, sharing those videos and photos, just because I know I personally struggle even trying to explain what regionals and nationals are to people that have never been or first hearing about it, and things like that. So we just wanted to wrap up the session, and we just want to say thank you so much for listening to the info session. It's perfect. It is 6:30. We wanted to make sure that we had lots of time for whether people had to leave for class or any questions or things like that. And also too, if you aren't comfortable with turning on your mic to answer or to ask a question, you can also put it in the meeting group chat as well too. And then hopefully one of the PMs will be also answering questions through that as well. But to kick it off, Kavya?
Yes, thank you for that. So my team is participating in 2 challenges. That is in the first block, the TD challenge, and there was this community challenge, and both of them are timed at 9:30 to 12. So how would that work? Because we have the same team who is presenting in both of the challenges.
So I would talk to your program manager around that, and I'll just leave at that for the time being. Just have a conversation with the program manager, and we'll go from there. Sorry, don't mean to be blunt or short, but that would be the best approach. Amazing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point to make. So this is why we encourage you have separate presentation teams for each challenge, but also just to add on to that, it's also very important that you have multiple people who understand the tech part of your presentation. I think that's something a lot of people forget. So just as a little point to think about, if you're doing all 4 challenges or you're doing the 2 morning ones and the 2 afternoon ones, it's not just presentation teams that you need to think about, it's also your tech teams as well. Any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat if you don't want to speak up or raise your hand. It's what we're here for.
And then if you don't have any questions right now, you can also just send us an email either now or later. And then if you have anyone from your team that didn't get the presentation, we'll share it with you, and then you can share it with the rest of your team. Well, if nobody else has one, we have a few other slides that we can go through. That was just extra. Feel free to interrupt and just put your hand up, and we'll kind of pause where we are and answer those questions.
Sure. So sorry, we just go into our tips and tricks. Andre, we will be sending this presentation based off of what you registered on your, my apologies, Maddie. Yes, it will be actually on our website. There's a team resources page, and it will have all of the training sessions and things like that. Perfect. So just a couple sort of tips and tricks. So I know that we talked earlier about the judging criteria and things like that. Please make sure you actually read the judging criteria. One, all the criteria are different in each of the challenges, but I've heard from far too many teams that they didn't even know about a judging criteria till they got their green sheets after the fact. So please make sure you please look at those. That will really help with your reports and presentations. Another tip, please make sure that within the judging criteria, you actually cover all 4 of them. Sometimes I find a lot of teams do a very great job talking about the problem, their solution, and their impact, but they typically forget the 3rd criteria, which is around this use of business principles. So please just make sure you're covering all 4 criteria in your challenge report, in your presentation, and things like that. And then lastly, please make sure that you not only quantify your impact, but also quantify the problem. So don't just say, hey, this is a problem. Maybe have a stat. Is it 60% of people deal with this, or X billion pounds of waste? Really amplify when you quantify. It really helps that sort of scope and scale that the judges need to really be like, wow, this is actually a huge problem, and things like that. I will now pass it to Abby for her lovely advice.
Just really quickly, not to contradict Eric, but Eric used the number 4 to say like all 4 criteria. Just please note, not all of them have just 4. And I think innovation impact has like
Yes.
6 different points. So in Eric's case, some of them have 4, not all of them have 4. So make sure you touch on all the criteria for the specific challenge you are doing.
Just really quick, Abby, before we get into the rest of the tips, all the students, you're welcome to stay on and listen to our tips and tricks. Before you leave, though, if you do decide that you have something else that you have to attend to, we just want to launch a quick survey to get some feedback. So I'll let Sohaib launch that. But if you guys can just take a couple minutes to fill it, actually, well, it's 2 questions. It'll take 10 seconds. But if you could just fill it out, be honest, because it helps us understand what you guys are looking for in training sessions. We never want to have like things that people don't care about. So be honest and just take a second. We really appreciate it. And again, if you need to hop off, totally fine. If you want to stay and listen to us share our tips from our experience as students in the program or as program managers, we welcome that as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate you filling this out.
Awesome.
And again, we'll keep talking, but
Cool. Lovely. I think I can, yeah. Great. So just a little piece of advice. You can see this is me and my team over the last few years. I won't be going to Atlantic this year, which makes me really sad, but Maddie will make sure it's wonderful, I'm sure, as they have for the last few years. Well, they've actually been at every Atlantic Regionals I ever went to, so, Okay, awesome. So a few things. First piece of advice would be to do a tech run through at your university. Make sure all your tech's working, you have everything you need before you get to regionals where possible. Ideally, you do this in front of people. It can add a little bit more stress to you. So hopefully it's good stress that allows you guys to, make sure you know what you're doing. please present in front of people at your school, ideally people that have no idea what your projects are, that would have valuable questions for you. Remember that the judges are seeing your projects likely for the first time, and make sure you're kind of presenting to an unbiased person who hasn't seen it and is going to give you honest feedback and questions. The second thing, again, reviewing judging criteria to ensure your presentation aligns with it. Make sure you don't have those big gaps. Thirdly, your teammates really make it enjoyable. I've been lucky to have a wonderful team every year I've gone, and just overall within my Enactus experience, encourage people to come, don't yell at people, be nice. I know it can be stressful. I've yelled at people, but again, just trying to keep that composure when you can. And then lastly is celebrate your competitors. After you guys are done your presentations, there's really no skin off your neck to just, celebrate with people, congratulate them, go out for karaoke, go play a game of volleyball, something. So yeah, I would definitely encourage that. We still have 12 people that need to fill this out if they can. Okay, Maddie.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Maddie. I'm sure I've met most of you. If not, hello, I'm the program manager for Atlantic. So for Maddie's Must Knows, I decided to stray a little bit from what you need to know about your presentation and everything. I just wanted to say this is one of the most formative experiences of your kind of Enactus experience, just in general, going to these competitions, being a leader, whether you're the president, whether you're leading the tech team, whether you're a student who's just trying to lead the group in this, audience, keeping everyone happy and excited. These are the moments where you'll remember them as you go through your career, as you get older. So I'm just here to tell you to have as much fun as you can, be excited, be happy, cheer for the other teams, make the most of it, because this is really something that, regionals only happens once a year. And if you're lucky, you'll get 4, maybe 5 years out of your program. So really, really take advantage of this experience and be nice to each other, like Abby said. And there's a lot of stress and a lot of hard work that goes into it, but it's also so rewarding, not just in winning and advancing, but it's also just, seeing all the work that you've done and seeing all the work that everybody else has done. So really make the most of it. Remember to smile, remember to say hello to your teams that you're competing against, because at the end of the day, these friendships and these memories that you're making are so special and so awesome. So that's one piece of advice, is just to have a good time and try to remember that even in the moments of stress. But then my other thing is just make sure that as we get up to it, that you are setting aside time to practice. And I know that this is such a simple piece of advice, but if you can set, 2 or 3 days a week over the next month of February, right, leading up to your event, maybe 45 minutes to an hour where you're meeting with your presentation team and you're just doing 4 or 5 run-throughs each time. The difference between doing that and then waiting till maybe 2 weeks before to start practicing is going to make a world of difference. And when you're presenting to judges, especially, that confidence will speak to them, because if they can tell how confident you are in your presentation and how confident you are in your idea, they will believe in your idea as well. And so that's my other piece of advice, is just do everything you can to practice on a regular schedule. And if this is something that is new to you, take that time to, take initiative and set those calendar slots in all of your teams' calendars, so that way you have that time set aside, because it really it will change your life. And it's so simple. Just practice. Do 4 run-throughs twice a week.
Yeah. And another thing with run-throughs, just to add on to what Maddie says, if not all of your presenters, not all of your tech team can make it to everyone, that's okay. It's okay to skip those slides. It's okay to have somebody else do those slides, fill in. Just do it. Even if you only have 2 of 6 people there, that's okay. Just make sure you have time for it in some capacity. Yeah. Sorry to hijack.
No, that was great. Thank you, Abby. Because it's hard to schedule. I get it. You guys are in midterms, we were all there. We get it.
Okay. Terry.
Yes. So again, I think the key word will be practicing. So we're talking about practicing also, but I will try to talk on how to leverage the practice that you're doing, and also trying to maybe have money with it, or talk with partner with when you're practicing. So you need to leverage the fact that you're practicing, and don't hesitate to bring or to invite any partners that you want to be involved on your project. So that will be a way for them to be involved by helping you on presenting your project for the regional. So it's a great way of having, I would say, a first contact. Sometime if you are thinking about the partners that you will want to work on in the future with them, don't hesitate to ask them to be there as a judge. You can do exactly the same thing for alumni. If you want to work with your alumni from Enactus, you can also send them an invitation to be judges when you will be practicing for the regionals. So that's a great way to maintain contact with them, to make them being involved on your project and on what you're doing. And other tips is when you're doing the practicing, don't hesitate to record yourself. So you can also see what needs to be improved, and you can send videos to other people also to see what they can improve and what they're giving you feedbacks.
Lovely. We'll move it on to Sohaib.
Everyone. Those who do not know, I'm Sohaib. I am the PM for Western Canada. I think most of the things have been covered by my fellow PMs. I would like to double down on what Mary said. Enjoy your experience, be present in the moment. It's very easy to get overwhelmed, especially if you're a student leader or a presenter. Make sure you shake it off, be present in the moment. Yes, it's a time for competition, but it's also a great opportunity to network, to make friends with like-minded people for the rest of your lifetime. So make sure you take advantage of that. Apart from that, second tip, which really helps me when I was an active student, is preparing your own team's itinerary. And from the time you leave your campus or your school to the time you return back, note down everything for 2 days. It really helps you to get most out of the experience in regionals, and you all the time you know where your team is. So yeah, these will be my 2 cents.
Awesome. Thanks, Sohaib. Awesome. Yeah. And that's all we have.
That's all.
So with that being said, if you are one of the 2 people that haven't answered that, please do for the 2 questions. Otherwise, we're going to promptly end this meeting at 6:50. So if anybody has any questions, please ask them now. If not, we will end the call. But yeah, whenever you guys like to ask any questions. Oh, Maddie's big on my screen now.
Oh, awesome.
It's nice.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
I'm going to turn off the recording now.
Oh, I see a question.